What's poppin', yo? Meek Mill recently just had one of the most odd reactions to projected sales that I've seen in a very long time. Recently, him and Rick Ross dropped the Too Good to Be True album. I talked about the singles that they were releasing. I made another separate video about it, which you guys should probably check out. No, actually, you guys should definitely check out. It was kind of talking about like why aren't people like more excited for this? This is something that I was looking forward to. Granted, it did end up being a little bit too long for my taste, but I did listen to it when I was on a flight. It was a solid album. Like if you like Meek Mill, if you like Rick Ross, if you like that old MMG style, but in a more modern version, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get bars. You're going to get kind of like, I make money, hustle music. You're going to get everything out of this album that you would expect. And a little bit more that you probably wouldn't expect. But Meek Mill goes on social media and he says the following. It says, me and Ross on pace to sell 35K first week. I would post if it said 350K. I mean, nobody's really doing that no more. I'm too nice and rich to be rapping in a controlled music environment. That's why we drop in music on Fridays. It doesn't make sense. Now we all own our music. We getting the tech built to put people on our own musical subscriptions, and we go and let direct to consumer see if rap doing well. And then he quotes this and says, the streets love this album too. I'm use every drop of my talent now. I own 100% of my music now. It was top tier rap for the hustlers and winners. Tap in. It's Too Good to Be True. Owned by William Roberts, ex Robert Williams, distro by Gamma. And then he follows this up by saying someone replied and said, and it's all part of the agenda, comparisons and division at its finest. Meek Mill says, I never wanted to be on billboards. A lot of them guys they marketed in front of us can't make 100K today. If people believe that, though, I want that market too. I'm hungry. LOL. I don't understand a single thing Meek Mill just said in all of this. Probably one of the concepts is like he's somewhat not upset or somewhat not happy with the sales and slightly obsessed. Upset, not obsessed. What I think about it, I don't know why people expected more than 35K. I think this is as expected. There wasn't much hype around this project, and I talked about it in a video in the lead up to the release. It's like, why isn't anybody talking about this? This is a huge moment. Granted, they did do some press for it, but keep in mind, like they said, they own this, and it was released through a distribution deal with something called Gamma. I don't know what Gamma is, but it's not Universal, it's not Warner, it's not a major distributor. And for them to still move 35K, that's big. That's impressive. Like, this isn't some major label thing that they just pulled off. Now, they're both big names, yes, but we've seen big names sell this much or less when they didn't have access to the resources that they previously did. We saw it with Tory Lanez when he first went independent. So I don't think it's something that we can knock them for. And I don't think anybody's even knocking them on the sales yet, because some people don't even know that the album dropped. And it's so sad that not only do they not know the album dropped, they can't even give their critique on the sales because they're not even looking for them, which is, I've said this before, like it kind of frustrates me because I mess with these guys' music, not their social media antics by Meek Mill, not so much. So for this album, what he was talking about, he's like, oh, we need to make platform of tech that does this and this. If the streets love Meek Mill, what's the likelihood that they're going to sign up to this other platform that has way less of a user base than the platform that you're currently distributing on? I just think Meek Mill has to come to the conclusion and accept the fact that the days of selling 250K for Meek Mill are over. The days of selling 250K for only maybe like less than 10 rappers can do that now. Maybe even 5 if I were to like narrow it down. That's such an unbelievably high sales amount. And I think someone needs to sit down with Meek Mill if he's willing to listen and run the numbers for him. Like, hey, Meek, if you want to do 100K first week, this is the amount of people that would need to stream your album in the first week. And I think probably after that, he'd look at it and be like, oh, okay. Or maybe he just won't accept it because he just looks at things back then versus now. But I mean, who knows? It's just something interesting to see. I don't think he should have addressed this at all. Nobody was really talking about it. Nobody was really making fun of him. I wasn't even going to talk about the sales of this if he didn't mention it. Would I have talked about the album? I don't know. If I did, I would have to mention the sales regardless. Some people are going to come into my comments and be like, nah, bro, this is terrible. They should have done. What should they have done? Keep in mind, Youngboy, who's lit, right? He's about to do 30 to 35K first week, and he just dropped. And it's been a little while since his last project dropped. So is that a flop for Youngboy? Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to gauge things now, which is why I talk less and less about sales now. because a lot of it is smoke and mirrors, a lot of it is fake, outright fake. A lot of it back then was fake, so it's hard to compare back then to now. You can really only compare the progression of the particular artist and kind of like where they're at around people that are in their bracket, I guess, or tier of popularity, current tier of popularity, not what used to be. And for Meek Mill, his tier of popularity is, I think Meek is at a point right now where he's kind of more of a celebrity than a rapper. Not in the sense that he's doing nonsense, but everybody knows Meek Mill. We all know who Meek Mill is. You see a picture of him, you're like, I know that guy. That's Meek Mill. However, when Meek Mill drops, not everybody knows that Meek Mill dropped. To contrast this, Ye, for instance, everybody knows Ye. But when Ye is about to drop, everybody knows Ye is dropping. Partially because he cancels the release date like 16 times before he actually drops, and he promotes it for a very, very long time. But people like Drake, for instance, too. Everyone knows when Drake is going to drop, for the most part. The same isn't necessarily true about Meek Mill. And that doesn't mean Meek Mill isn't doing enough music or he's known for something else, because he's not. Like, people would still assign him rapper. Rick Ross, on the other hand, I could say is more of a celebrity now, and maybe even like a social media personality to a degree. However, when he drops, people will usually tune in. But I just don't want to disrespect Meek Mill by saying, oh no, this guy's just like what Tyga was in the Kylie days, and people don't even look at him as a rapper. No, people look at him as a rapper. He's just reached such big heights in his career, and the resources that he had back then with the major label is not what he has right now. So he shouldn't have the expectation that he did back then. And this is a really interesting pairing coming back together, because Meek Mill had issues with Ross, but it was coming out with rumors or hearsay that Meek Mill didn't necessarily have issues with Ross. He realized that his issues were with Atlantic Records. And then he got off of Atlantic Records, and now he's with Rick Ross doing a project together. So if they had issues, then they most likely wouldn't have done a project together. So it was likely Atlantic. And on top of that, Wale, who was with MMG, and was it Atlantic or was it with Warner? I think it was with Warner, which Warner is like the bigger part of Atlantic, but even he left Warner to go to Def Jam now with what he's about to drop. We don't know if it's like an album, EP, or mixtape, but he recently did come back with a single. That was pretty good. The nice music video, really good visual, and he's been kind of like out of the game for a little bit, just in the cut, working on who knows what. But let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think this is a disappointing show out? Like, be honest. If you didn't even hear about this, how can you have high sales expectations? But, just give your opinion, why, and if you can translate what Meek Mill meant by this to, a 99 percentile accuracy, I was probably like 30% understanding what he just typed here. Please also do that in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.